All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Terence Crawford having a real hard day. Snaps off on a boxing fan in response to some criticism that he received. Also, he drops in a big pound for pound list below Errol Spence Jr. and loses, I do believe, a Hall of Fame vote, all in a 24-hour period. All as a backlash of him pulling out of the Errol Spence Jr. negotiations. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division. Been a lot of news and things going on around about Terence Crawford and his next fight that he has with David Avanesyan to take place December 10th in Omaha, Nebraska on Black Prime Network. Unfortunately for him, a lot of the news is not good. And in a response to something that was said to him in a tweet, he goes a little bit bananas, and you can tell it's starting to get underneath Terence Crawford's skin. Before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a longtime subscriber and supporter to the channel, thank you very, very much. It really does mean a lot. Also, just want to make sure, I may have done this 2 videos in a row, but my notes got a little bit confusing. I want to thank Mr. Pragmatic for the support that you give the channel in the super thanks, which you can do in the video. It's like right below. It's similar to a super chat that you can give in the live streams, but it's done for the videos and does help full-time content creators, people that create content, not full-time, but create content every day, helps provide for the costs and that associated with it. So thank you very much. And thank you to everybody that supports in the live stream, in the Cash App, and the Super Chat. It really does make a big, big difference for the channel. Also, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We always have some good content and some good boxing conversation for you guys to enjoy or not enjoy and argue with people in the comment section. All of it is good boxing talk, though. Now, let's get into this. Terence Crawford is going to be fighting David Avanesyan on December 10th in Omaha, Nebraska. By all outward appearances, that bout is going to happen. They just put the bout back up on yesterday on BoxRec, excuse me, for under Terence Crawford's name and David Avanesyan's name. So it's back up there. Have not seen if they're have started selling any tickets or not, because last I checked, and that was as of 24 hours ago, yesterday. The fight was not listed under the Shy Health Center upcoming events. That time is blocked off for a private event. I anticipate, though, in the next couple of days that they're going to actually put up there that it's going to be the Terence Crawford Avanesyan fight. However, there's a lot of backlash on Terence Crawford about this bout. And the first thing is, I'm going to go through 3 things. As I was going to do a video about the other 2, but then one popped up at the last second. I couldn't avoid it. I didn't want to ignore it because it was so funny. A guy, Terence Crawford, puts out a tweet and says, something about, he leads off with a tweet, doesn't have anything to do with Errol Spence Jr. And as a result of that, somebody responds and says, Nigga, you need to be worrying about Errol Spence. And then Terence Crawford responds with, you need to go get some money, get off my, get off my NUTS, Nigga, right? So clearly a little bit flustered with the fact that he's getting some pushback. But man, let me tell you, the pushback is real because, one of the things that Terence Crawford has said about why he didn't need the Errol Spence fight is because he already made it into the Hall of Fame after all of his accolades, right? Well, then there was a guy, if you're not familiar with him, you should be, Dan Rafael. Some people is going to say his name's pronounced Dan Raphael or what. I've always heard it pronounced Dan Rafael. former reporter for ESPN, and I mean decade. I believe the man was there at least 10 years, and writing articles for ESPN. Excellent boxing writer. Don't always agree with his viewpoints on boxing. However, and when I say excellent writer, I mean he's very good at writing, like very, very good sentence structure, very, just an articulate, very highly skilled at the craft of writing. So very, very good writer. I appreciate his skill set. He also has a vote on the Hall of Fame, if I do believe, what I believe is correct. I do believe that he is somebody that has a ballot and casts ballots for the Hall of Fame. And by the Hall of Fame, I mean the one in Canastota, New York, the International Boxing Hall of Fame, not the Nevada State Athletic Hall of Fame. The one in New York, the one, the one that's really kind of the big deal. And he wrote this, he came out and said, look, man, Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr., when everything is said and done in their careers, will be remembered for the fight that they didn't have. And how he specifically points out that Terence Crawford says Terence Crawford walked away from the fight, and says Terence Crawford needs to learn how to say yes, right? Both fighters need to learn how to say yes. That's a lesson that Terence Crawford obviously has not learned yet, right? Which is, you take the fight that people want to see. Now, I'm going to tell you, Dan Rafael is not somebody that is out of the norm when it comes to those people that are voting for that Hall of Fame. So to have him say that really does echo as far as the voice of the people that are voting. I'm not talking about me. I'm not talking about, people, boxing people at, in the, maybe at a barbershop, or people that are diehard fans that don't have votes. I'm talking about the journalists that write, the fighters that are in the Hall of Fame that actually get votes for the Hall of Fame. That is a pretty strong statement to say that is what Terence Crawford will be remembered for, the fight that he didn't take, right? And if you look through his resume and you look and say, okay, well, yeah, he made all of these accomplishments, right? Fighter of the year, undisputed champion, bunch of knockouts, right? 3-division champion, all that good stuff. Those are all accolades. But what he is missing is the actual fight that somebody can point to where they would talk about the name of the fighter and the fight and do not care whether a belt is on the line, what weight class it was in, whether or not, whatever. Don't care about any of that. Just really care about, man, look, that is a big, like when you think about Thomas Hitman Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns. All you remember the fight that took place. Now I know the weight classes that it took place, but there may be a chance that people out there have heard of that bout don't even know what belts were on the line. Was the IBF belt on the line? Was the WBO belt on the line? Was it the WBA or the WBC on the line? A whole bunch of people would know that there was no IBF at the time. There was no WBO at the time of that bout. I do believe there was an IBF at the time, but it wasn't considered a major championship belt. It's similar to the IBO is right now. And then, so aside from that, and Dan Rafael, also CBS Sports, who has their pound for pound list, has Errol Spence Jr. now listed above Terence Crawford on the pound for pound list. And in the little description that they have about the fight, about Terence Crawford, the only thing that he talks about is how he dropped out of the fight against Terence, how he dropped out of the fight against Errol Spence Jr. And when they talk about Errol Spence Jr., they talk about how good he looked in his last fight against Yordanis Ugas. So I'm telling you, man, sometimes, man, when you think you cross the finish line, you ain't necessarily cross the finish line, man. You got to make sure you get all the way over that hump, finish your career out the best way that you can. Otherwise, man, people may walk away from you, man, because I don't know anybody looking forward to this David Avancian fight. Avancian, it just seems like something that Terence Crawford took because he just didn't want the Errol Spence Jr. fight. But anyway, just thought I'd update on that. And if you guys want to say, hey, Fanon, get off Terence Crawford's neck about this and, let it go and we're past it and all of that, I don't know, man. You're going to have a pretty big fight and all of that. Something's going to have to take place. It's a major fight in order to get people to forget about that. Some real time is going to have to pass. Or Terence got to turn around and make the bout. Anyway, it is what it is. That's my take. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.